Well, today on the bench I have something here that I ordered that needs repairing or it's not working. And way to put your foot into it there. But it's actually a Dyson Supersonic hair dryer. I have no idea what's wrong with it. I was just interested in it because I never worked on anything like it, so we'll get it out of here and take a look at it. Now this is something I have never used one like before, so I don't know much about it. It has some kind of filter here, the inlet filter I guess. And we do see some discoloring here, like it either must be a heating element close or either overheated here. But I just thought it'd be interesting to see what's wrong with it and maybe get into it. So it is a HD01, 120 volt, 1600 watt. So with that air dryer plugged in, and I have it hooked up to a kilowatt power meter, it's a cheap power meter, and I don't see the display even trying to flicker. So either the power supply itself feeding it. Let me unplug it so you can see this. I can't remember if I showed it earlier or not, but no details on it. You know, it's used. It could have had some details on it, but I don't have any power data at all. But it could be something in the power supply, and it could be something with the control board, even maybe a power switch. But regardless whether I got it plugged in or not, no wattage or amps at all on the kilowatt readout. I don't know for sure these are lit up, but I didn't get anything. So we are going to have to tear into it to some degree here. I got a small Torx bit here. Looks to be maybe a T6. Looks like at least 2 T6s on this little filter inlet screen. So that just separates and slides off. Looks like it is keyed there with some across from the 2 screws, 2 key marks or line up marks if you will. We got a bigger Torx here. Maybe it's a T8. And there's also some smaller ones in here. Looks like T6 as well. Well, I was curious if these buttons actually would screw out, and all I had to do was about touch them and they broke off. So if you like me and working on one, don't do that. But on second thought, they have been glued back on, so maybe these buttons actually do pull out, because it's like a silicone glue. If you can see that, it actually isn't original, so they had probably broke off before. So maybe that does slide off. Oh, there's an O-ring there. The button probably actually broke off before. It looks like they had silicone or glued it back. But now that does slide off. Looks like we have even some more filter. I'm gonna go ahead and lay these aside. So it looks like if I slide this O-ring back, this top switch cover just pops off. So if we have to go into here, these Torx are smaller than, I believe, even T5, because I have down to a T6 in my little mini screwdriver set. And of course, I had to dig into my cell phone repair kit, and it's actually too small, so it is Torx, but it's gonna be in between. I gotta keep digging. Back now, I have one that does go down to T4. And I believe that's going to be it. So got those 4 small ones out. Looks like we still got some T6s on the back side. Slide this O-ring down. There we go. Getting into some meat now. Look at there. It's a little turbo blower. That is really neat. I think it has got magnetic attachments, and this actually isn't a magnet here, so I guess your attachments are going to be magnetic and stick to the ring, but that's a really neat idea. It looks like the T4s I took off the front actually hold this assembly in place. You can see that. Or holds this cover over that assembly, that is. Got some type of shielding plate or shielding tape. Y'all probably want me to take this rubber sleeve off, aren't you? I'm gonna mark where this tab was. I'm glad that's hair and not windings. Man, I can't believe how strong. That is a strong magnet pulse there. There's no way I can show you how that is, but I definitely got to get the hair out of there. Not saying it's a problem, but I am digging a lot of hair and debris out of the crevices. Should have took some video before I got a lot of it out, but you can probably still see at least some of it down in there. I was thinking maybe bad design the way it's going through, and typically people with long hair are going to be using hair dryers, but I think they actually did the filter really well. I don't know if somehow it went through the filter, or if they ran it without the filter. Who knows, being a used item. But regardless, we'll try to get all the hair out of it. We'll be back. I did dig a lot of stuff out of that motor. There's a lot of hair and stuff, and I actually had to use quite a good many tools to get it out. Put these away and I'll be right back. I really don't think the hair was really hurting anything. I just wanted to get it out while I had it apart. It says 120 volt here on the side. You're probably wondering how these 4 pins go to 2 there. And I actually checked this before I did the work of cleaning it. But we get about 4.5, 4.6 ohms across one winding, and we got about the same on the other winding. So these going to the 2 pins at 8.9 ohms. So they're actually going across in series in the 2 to give us our 8.9 ohms that go to these pins where it plugs up. So it ohms good. It actually did not overheat. What I wrongly thought was overheating on the handle, I don't believe it was, because I think the plastic would have showed it. So that just might be discoloring from hairspray or something else. But a very interesting little motor, because it's definitely brushless. Must be extremely high RPM. That's the data on it if you're interested. I don't know if you can find anything on it or not. I hadn't tried. But it does say it's 120 volts, brushless, but an extremely strong magnet, so it's a permanent magnet. So I'm glad that checked out okay. Okay, so if we power on, we should see some lights, probably a fan level and a heat level coming from here. Now that we got this off, that's interesting. It must either another optional thing or just where they programmed the chip on board there, because we have a header here that's not being used. The only thing is those buttons touch the little tactile switches on the board down there. Before I take it apart any further, I can see the elements in here, and I have gotten a hold to the terminals just enough in here to tell that there is a circuit there. So I don't know if you can see that, where the connections, just the high temp connections, are crimped onto the what's like nichrome wire that runs around and makes up just like any other heating element. Nothing really special about that, I'm sure. But I can't get to this board easily. It almost looks like it twists in and locks in, but while it's got the wires attached, it may not twist that much. So, and the screws we see here are coming from the back side. There's 1, 2, 3 screws that we can see the actual back side of the screw coming through. That's not a Torx head. I thought it was a small Torx, but that's actually the tip of the screw coming through from the reverse side. So it looks like to me it twists out of there. But before I take the wires loose, I've owned the motor and I've owned the switch now, and I've actually owned the element. So I'm curious if maybe the motor was actually being held enough that it may have picked it up before it come on, because I thought it was this switch. Honestly, that's why I got into it first. But the switch actually owns, it's almost like a 3 position. It's got like a middle detent. But believe it or not, down is off, and at least this switch, I'm not saying it's acting right, but the middle is 0 ohms, and then all the way up is 0 ohms. So either way, I think the switch was functioning normally. I'm just going to put all this back together enough just to test it out with the motor cleaned up and the switch checked out, because it could even been that the switch wasn't making good earlier. The way that they had, I didn't realize they had glued it back on, so it may not have been going all the way up. I've got this with the tab back on the mark that I had marked originally, and looks like that tab just rides in that little detent on the left side there. It just keeps it from rotating and ought to dampen the vibration really well there. I twisted and got my wires back in their track, got the grommet back to where I believe it lines up. And one thing to notice here, I definitely was looking for a fuse right off the bat. I don't think I even said it on camera, but I was looking for a fuse. I mean, whether thermal fuse or actually just overcurrent protection fuse, but apparently all your protection must be in this little module here. That the only writing I have on this one is the BizLink number there. You can see that. But it might just be a filter into protection. So if anybody has an experience with that, if I don't have to open it up, I won't. Since it is a hair dryer, maybe on the sink, I'm gonna keep it sealed up if I can, because I have not seen it where you can get a replacement if it's needed. But what's odd is we do have our black and white wires coming up, and we did see the 120 volt rating written on our actual motor. I do have to put this switch cover on. I'm going to plug the power up now. I know that the motor's free. I've tested the switch. Well, that's neat. Not only did it work, it had a little heat. The red indicator light being on level 1, I could definitely feel the heat start coming out. It was a little bit of delay to it. Okay, so both detents do actually cut it on, so you don't have to go all the way up with it. That was 7 or 8 amps, and it dropped down to about 5. So I believe if the element heated up, the current either went down or either it was controlling the temperature. Cold burst work. That goes down to 1.3 amps. The heat. Well, very cool. The metal ring itself's a little bit warm, but not terribly hot. Well, so now realizing how this works, it's very possible that this had come off the switch. I really didn't pay attention. I believe I could push down like that on it, but if it actually wasn't lined up right, that could be a problem. Even though it has line-up pins and screws. Nope, I'm sorry, just line-up pins on this plate. It just has to go under that O-ring. So the O-ring helps keep it in, and then it pops into the little line-up pins there. But I would like to be able to order another switch plate, but I haven't been able to find one as of right now. So I might have to be getting creative with some buttons. So we had our O-ring up top keeping that switch plate on, and we also had our O-ring around here. Seems to be working. O-rings look to be in good shape. So that may have been the problem, is how they had glued that on or how they had tried to fix that. So I did not realize how this little lip seal came off, but I believe that's it. We'll see if it'll go in there and line up okay. So far so good. And this should just snap back on. And one little trick here, after I started scarring it up, I wanted to stop doing that. I would actually get it started with maybe a little smaller screwdriver, maybe insert something more round in the spot there and actually get it started. And I've done this before with something on a lip that you're scared you might break if you pry, you know, and put your force on a few spots. I actually took this solid wire, and once you start getting a gap there, just fill that wire in like you would an O-ring seal or something of that nature, right? And just work it around as you take the screwdriver gently, and eventually when you get about halfway, it'll be enough force and it'll be equally distributed across that it'll actually pop right out. So it'll keep you from scratching this, and definitely keep you from like breaking off this little flange when you realize how thin it is. It's so thin that you can even see through it here for the lights. Let LEDs shine through. That is about 13 amps. Dropping down to 9.3 amps. Okay, and there's our speed too. I didn't try that earlier. That is quiet as it can be. I'm very happy with that. So for now, I just use crazy glue to glue the buttons back where they need to be. Yeah, I'm actually going to try to clean these up some, and then I'll actually put them back in here eventually. If you like this video, we're looking inside of this Dyson HD01 supersonic hairdryer. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.